I expected this finale to be amazing, and that is just what we got. I thought that there were no slow moments. There was so much that happened. So many things were answered, and then some new things came about. And I'm so excited for next season, although I need to mention that it will be the final season. They announced this week that the 5th season is the last season of Orphan Black, and my thoughts on that are, I think it's okay. It's been an excellent show, and sometimes when shows keep going and going and going for multiple seasons, they start to just kind of lose what made them special and amazing. And I don't want this show to get to that point, and I think by having one more season, it will not get to that point, and I just have the highest of expectations for next season. But we need to talk about the finale. I loved how the finale started out. We found out exactly what went down when Delphine was shot at the end of last season, and we realized that Crystal witnessed it all. We also realized who shot her. It was that terrible Martin guy who was the mole from the police department, which makes me even more happy that he was murdered by Mrs. S. You go, Mrs. S. So what was crazy is that some people came to pick up Delphine, and the main guy who picked her up was the guy who has taken over Neolution now. So they didn't really explain what all of that meant or what's been going on with Delphine for all of this time. Definitely that's going to be addressed next season. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, but I cannot wait for them to explain that next season. So some super awesome news was that Cosima finally found the cure, and she'd been working on that forever, so that was amazing. But sadly, she did not take the cure for herself, which is definitely going to come into play later in the episode. So yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, it's the person that is with Brightborn as well, and Neolution, I guess, that is friends with Delphine, or that is helping Delphine. I'm just not sure how all of that works, but I was really glad to see this man, and I know they probably gave him a name and I can't remember, but Evie, obviously, her whole career was ruined in the last episode, and since she had that stupid bot that she's obsessed with in her cheek, this guy, like, activated it, so it killed her, and as I predicted, she was murdered and Martin was murdered. So those are the two people I really hope would die this season, and that totally happened, so I was happy about that. I just want to say that Crystal, even though I have other favorite clones, she's amazing. I love the way she talks. I love her attitude. I think that she's an awesome clone. I love that she got so much time in this episode, and I'm really hoping that we see more from her, a lot more from her in the next season, because I think she's just amazing. So one of the best parts of this episode was when Crystal finally meets Sarah, and most people will be completely shocked because they're seeing their twin, and Sarah told her that they were clones, and she was like, oh, whatever, I look nothing like you, and it was just so funny the way that she said it, and what an epic scene. I love that so, so much. So, Crystal, who we think is Crystal, but it's actually Sarah, wearing Crystal's disguise, is setting up that doctor, that main guy from Brightborn, the one who helped Delphine, and they kidnap him, like Mrs. S. And Sarah kidnap him to try to get some answers. And then we see this side of Rachel that I wasn't really sure existed anymore, because honestly, I had started to feel better about her, and I was kind of trusting her more, and I was like, I don't know, can we trust her or not? I want to. I don't think she's really that bad. But unfortunately, we found out she's completely evil and terrible, and I definitely think she will be murdered in the next season, but she wants to be the head of Neolution. She wants complete power. She's definitely power hungry, and she wants to, of course, we found out that Susan wants to clone more people, which we didn't know that was going to happen, and Rachel wants to do this as well, but she also wants to implant that worm, the bot, in everyone's cheek, so that she can control them, I guess, and so they can continue to have, like, perfect babies, and it's a terrible plan, and wow, I just was really surprised to see her on this level, and that evil, and that, like, completely crazy. Thumbs up if you agree with that. So, just to continue how crazy she is, when she's trying to tell Susan, like, that she's going to take over, and everyone's going to listen to her, and she's going to be the boss, and Susan's like, no, it's never going to happen because you're a clone and they're never going to listen to anything you say, and you're completely wrong. So she just takes a knife from the kitchen counter and she's like brutally stabbing Susan. And at that moment I'm like, oh my god, she has stabbed Susan to death. However, what's really bizarre is that Susan survived that attack. I don't know if she's gonna survive into next season, but she was still alive for the rest of the episode, even though she was losing like a massive amount of blood. At the same time, Sarah has decided to come to the island to figure out what is going on, and she breaks in on all of this action, and she is getting attacked by Rachel, which is kind of crazy that Rachel's attacking all these people. I mean, I know Susan is elderly, but Rachel has all kinds of physical issues herself. She's like stabbing Sarah and doing way overpowering her, and she stabs her in the leg, and Sarah's having a lot of issues, and she's losing a lot of blood, and she's able to get away and like get to the outside of the island and hoping that she's calls to see if someone can come get her. But I was really worried for a little bit. I was like, you know, I never thought that they would go there and kill off the main clone. But I was like, man, are they going to let Sarah die? In this episode, I was very concerned. I was like, either Sarah's going to die or Susan's going to die or both. And then I was really worried about Cosima just a little bit later. Because Cosima and Charlotte know, they've been told by Susan they need to get away. They need to get on the boat. And when they leave, Cosima starts getting really sick, like the sickest she's been. And they run into that man that Rachel's been seeing in her visions. And I mean, honestly, when I look at him, I get massive villain vibes. I don't know about you. Thumbs up if you agree. But they didn't really address if he was a villain or not. And instead of taking them to a boat, he takes them to that camp that was also in Rachel's visions. And the crazy thing is this is where Delphine is. So I was so glad that she had a pretty big role, at least some role in this episode, because we literally have not seen her all season. So that was amazing. And this was just such a touching scene between Cosima and Delphine, because Delphine is trying to help her to keep her alive, to do everything she can to keep her warm. And I think Cosima is so sick, she's not even really for sure who this is helping her. But it actually starts to work, and I really felt like if anyone was going to die, besides Susan in this episode, and of course Evie, would be Cosima. I thought this is going to be, because it's the finale, and I think Cosima's going to die, and this is terrible, but she didn't. But I'm concerned, definitely concerned for her for next season. What do you guys think? Something that we found out that is huge news is we pretty much know now something big about our villain. We don't really know who it is, but he's the man who founded Neolution, and he's like super old according to Susan, and he's not their friends. And I was kind of hoping it would be someone we had seen before, but now I don't think it will be. But obviously he will be revealed in the next season since it's the last, and I would love to know your thoughts on that. And do you think it's someone we've seen before, or is it going to be like a brand new character? But that will be huge for next season. I was definitely expecting something more about Adele. We didn't see her at all in this episode because I definitely don't think she is someone we can trust. So I think that will be addressed next season. I thought Helena might have her babies. She didn't. So that's going to happen next season. I feel like a broken record here. But also, Allison wasn't in the episode at all, which was kind of sad. But I know we'll see her. We have to tie up the storylines of everyone next season. But I would love to know your predictions for next season. Who's going to die? What's going to happen? What's going to happen with Helena's babies? What are your predictions for this main villain? Will Sarah make it through? Will Susan live? What's going to happen with Rachel? There's so many questions. I don't even know if I've left anything out. Yes, I have, because Ferdinand is holding Mrs. S and Kira hostage, which is just not good. I think they'll be able to escape, but we still don't really know what Kira is up to and what her psychic abilities. I mean, she definitely has some kind of special powers, so what is up with that? I think that will be explored next season. So there's so much to fit into one season, and I just think it will definitely be the best season the show's ever had, so I'm really excited. Just want to thank you guys so much for being with me for all of season 4 of Orphan Black. This is the first season I've covered here on KellieTV, and if you subscribe for this reason, please stick with me. I will definitely be covering the next season, and there's so many other shows that I'm covering or will be covering in the near future. Covering Scream right now. Scream Queens is coming up September 20th. Pretty Little Liars starts next week, so I will be covering that as well, and How to Get Away with Murder and other things that I've forgotten now. So thumbs up if you enjoy these types of videos, and I hope to see you very soon, which I will next week if you stick around for the other shows. And have a great weekend. I will see you later. Bye, guys.